Hi everyone. Hi everyone. I'll just wait a few seconds till more people come so we can start this talk about learning sustainable living. Hi everyone. Today we're going to talk about sustainable living. We'll be starting in a few moments. Hi everybody. Hi. I'll just wait till a few more people join. Today we're going to talk about sustainable living. Alright, so let's just go right into the topic. So my name is Laure. I grew up in France and I've been living in India for 5 years. And I've been living a zero-waste lifestyle for 5 years as well. And I work currently for Ecofam, and most of all I've been using Juru yoga mats for like 3 years or so. And I really like what Juru does, and today they're asking me to talk about my zero-waste lifestyle and how I lead a sustainable life. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Hi everybody, hi Rishi, hi Disha. So let's start with a few facts. So there's over 1 million seabirds and 100,000 sea mammals that are killed by pollution every year. Also, there's toxic pollution that affects more than 200 million people worldwide. That's according to an organization which is called Pure Earth. And so it's very important to pay attention and to understand that pollution is not something that we can ignore anymore, and that we really have to become conscious about our way of living in an effective way to bring about the change on a much larger scale. And the reason why it's very important to live a sustainable life is that, first of all, there's no proper waste management in India, waste management system, and there's more and more pollution of water, air, soil in India as well. On the other hand, there's more and more people, so there's less and less resources. So we don't want to use those valuable natural resources. So what I mean by natural resources is, for instance, wood, glass, paper. Actually, it's also plastic, because we also don't want to waste plastic. So the main thing is that actually we want to become responsible for our waste. And one of the solutions is to lead a zero-waste lifestyle, which I started a few years ago, as I told you. So this is an individual and an individual solution, not a collective. We can act also on the collective level, but this is not what I'm going to be talking about today. So let me tell you what is the concept of zero-waste living. So the essence is that we actually want to reduce or eradicate non-recyclables, and that most of all, as I just said, we want to preserve and reuse but also optimize natural resources. There's 5 principles. The first principle is to refuse, then reduce, reuse, recycle and rot. And actually we want to follow those 5 principles in order and apply them to our daily life, and the outcome is the least waste possible in your life. It's a philosophy and tools and principles which will help you to reduce your waste. So let's talk first about refusing. So you want to refuse anything that you don't need or anything that you don't want. For instance, you go to a shop, you want to refuse plastic bags, plastic straws, and so on, and say no to anything that's single use, because that's gonna pollute. Also, you can think twice, while you're buying, thinking like, how long am I going to be using this? How long am I going to be using this plastic bag? How long am I going to using this plastic straw? and how long after that is going to take to degrade and utterly pollute, because it might decompose but it's going to pollute. So it is a problem. Any kind of waste is a problem. So we want to avoid most of all non-recyclables, which is, for instance, we want to avoid to buy chips packets, biscuit packets. We want to avoid any kind of containers, takeaway containers. Also, like, we want to avoid to buy online, because that often also comes in plastic. So that was the first concept of a zero waste lifestyle. It is to refuse anything that we don't want or don't need. The second principle is to reduce what you need and what you have. So it's closely related to minimalism. And for instance, what helped me a lot getting into that minimalist thinking was also the practice of yoga, because my guru taught us that all we need is inside and not outside, and that's really something that really helped me to, have less and go more minimalist, even though I'm not a 100% minimalist, like a hardcore minimalist. But it goes together. So you want to reduce what you need and what you have, and one more time, avoid non-recyclables. So the first principle was to refuse, second was to reduce, and third one is to reuse. Reuse is also repurpose. So for instance, it means you reuse cloth bags to go grocery shopping, or it means also use washable items, which can be like menstrual cloth pads, for instance, can be handkerchiefs, can be anything, towels instead of single-use napkins, and so on. And it's also important to realize that there's a lot of stuff that we don't really need and that we have, and that's why we want to reduce what we have also, because utterly it's going to become waste. And if what you have becomes waste, you pretty much wasting your money, you're throwing away your money. And also, we don't necessarily need to own. There's many ways to avoid owning. So you can rent, you can borrow, you can exchange, you can repair what you have, and like that you will generate less waste. The fourth principle of zero waste lifestyle is to recycle. So it's only in fourth position because recycling is not the best option, but it is an option. Because it's very energy consuming. It's not because if you put something in the recycling bin, it doesn't mean that it's necessarily gonna be recycled. So we wish cycle actually. So we wish that it gets recycled, but it doesn't get always recycled. And it has to be recyclable as well. Like, not any kind of plastic, for instance, is recyclable. Many kinds of waste is not recyclable. And not everything is recyclable endlessly. And then the last principle is to compost. So it means to give back to the earth what comes from the earth. First of all, it's a beautiful fertilizer. Compost is a great natural fertilizer. And so what I would advise is to buy anything that's made of compostable materials. Like, for instance, Duromats are the best because they're made of cork. So when the mat is gone, you can just cut it in small pieces and put it in the compost, and it will degrade, and then you can give that compost to your plants. So these were the 5 basic principles of a zero waste lifestyle, which is, I'll repeat, refuse, reduce, reuse, recycle, and rot, which is compost. So I've been living this lifestyle for 5 years, and it's really great. It really feels great to have this lifestyle because you feel part of the solution and not of the problem anymore. And apart from that, there's also a few other ways to go more sustainable in your lifestyle, which is to, first of all, eat local. We eat like thrice a day, so if you adjust your food and the items that you buy, it has like huge consequences, because well, you're eating thrice a day. So 3 times a day, for instance, if you eat organic, you're gonna finance 3 times a day the organic industry, and you're not gonna finance the pesticide industry, for instance. Also, eating local is super important, and seasonal. Seasonal I meant. So eat local, eat organic, eat seasonal. That's already like a big change that will make your lifestyle more sustainable and just the world more sustainable and less polluted. Also, eat no or less animal products, because animals eat a lot of our resources which we could have eaten ourselves. They take a lot of space, and also most of all cows release methane, which is a gas which creates greenhouse effect, so it's polluting. So that's why, for instance, I eat no meat, because it's already a big step towards reducing my carbon footprint. Also, buy clothes which are made with natural materials. Can be cotton, but 100% cotton. Can be silk, can be hemp, can be many different materials, but which are not synthetic, because synthetic is plastic, and because utterly these will decompose in nature, whereas anything which is synthetic clothes, that's not going to degrade in nature. If you can also buy secondhand, because then, I mean, the item that you buy is already there, so it's less polluting and it uses less natural resources. And also practice slow traveling, means avoid taking the plane as much as you can, because the carbon footprint is really high, and you could prefer slower ways to travel, and of course like a common transportation, which is like the train or the bus, which will reduce also your carbon footprint and which will allow you to have a more sustainable lifestyle. So I hope that you like this talk. Feel free to ask me any questions. My social media is EcoLauret. Probably is going to be in the caption of this talk. So feel free to ask me any question, any kind of advice, and also follow me to have more tips and tricks about sustainable living. Thanks for attending this talk. Bye everyone.